Okay, November 20th, a day I've been waiting for all year. It's opening of water trapping. Muskrat and mink are in. Of course, land trapping is still open. I'm at the muskrat pond now. I had put out some floats. I made two different floats. One is a box type float. The other one is a log type float that like Kirk McCutcheon uses. If you look at Kirk's videos on the Trappers Trails and Tales, you'll see that. I'm not sure whether or not here muskrats will use floats. There's no cover on this pond, and they're very susceptible to birds of prey. So they may use them at night, but probably during the day they won't. But I've checked this pond out all week. There's some heavy muskrat trails in this pond. Actually, while I was setting out one of the floats, I had a muskrat swim right past me. So they're digging tunnels in here again. I'm also there's a creek at the back of the pond. I'm gonna set that creek for mink. Last night when I was here, I actually seen a big skunk too. I thought it was a coon at first, and then as I got a little closer to it, I realized it was a skunk. But yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to set this up pretty heavy and see what happens. I'll show you here one of the setups I'm going to use today. It's a Hag spring clip with the 3/8 inch fiberglass pole. As you can see, I've done videos on these before. The spring clip installs in the spring, and then it mounts over the 3/8 fiberglass pole. And then you can set that. These are good for setting deeper water. I made my own anchors for shallower water, but these, I have some holes this year that are out further away from the bank that are going, into the base of the pond and then coming back up underneath the bank. I trapped one like that late last year when it was under ice. But this is a pretty good system. See, it holds it. I can set it to whatever depth I want, so I just move it and it will stay. And then if I want to, I can twist the trap in or up or whatever I want, and I can set those right in the channels, in the muskrat channels. Oh boy, there's some channels out here, you'll see them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to using this. I'm gonna try the bait clip with the Hag's bracket on the foothold traps too. Like I said, I don't know if that will work here or not, because there's not a lot of cover, but we'll give it a try. See what happens. Okay, see here, log float, just like Kirk's. Check out Kirk's channel. He's an awesome trapper. I learned a lot from Kirk. There's a pole, and then further up I have another float. I'll show you some of the, you can actually see them from here, look. Some of these trails are really heavy, like that. Goes out so far and then stops banked in. There's another one here. This is a little more subtle, but I've caught a lot of rats in those trails, those subtle trails like that too. I think there's any more further right. Some of these are feeder bed trails. There's another subtle trail on a weed edge right there. I know it's hard to see the glare. You see what I undercut the bank here? Right there, look at that. That's like, put 5 traps in there. That's a definite channel going in there, hard edge. What you want to do is put the trap right along the hard edge there. That's where the rat's going to travel. They'll follow that all day long. There's another hard channel edge right here. A couple more subtle spots. But that's pretty decent. You can see here where they've been eating the grass and stuff up here on the bank. Here's another, look at that. That is a sign from the trapping gods right there. Another hard edge. They follow those trails right out into the pond. Here I have my float. I had no traps on it yet because it wasn't open. Here's another area here where they're in mucking around, coming up on the bank. Actually, I've seen a couple of spots here, like there. You put a trap up on the bank. But yeah, that is what you're looking for when you're trapping rats. in ponds. There's another spot here with two pretty hard trails. You got one here, you got another one here. And you can see when you get a lot of rats in a pond like this, they can do a lot of damage. You can see this bank is all broken away. It subsides. They dig so many holes in it and it's soft, it collapses. Check this out. Nature at its finest. Look at that architecture. Look at this. Here they actually have a bridge. They dug through under the ground here and then comes out the far side out into the pond. Amazing. Okay, look at this. There's a hole. See what I mean about it being out from the bank, but they're going into the hole right here and then it goes in under the bank. Look at that. Look at this. Where they've eaten the bank out. It's all full of holes here. It's collapsed. You gotta be careful where I walk. Look at this. Oh yeah. That's a beauty. It's wide though. It's gonna be tough to put a trap in a pinch point right about there. Might have to put two traps in it side by side. See if there's another one further down. You see, this is why you're in here, the duckweed and the grass. Look at it, it's full of it. I think that was the last big one there. No, there's one more here. A little bit of one there. Subtle trail. I think that's it, that was the last one. Just a little feeder creek as I sink in the mud. That feeds into the pond. That's a good little channel. I mean, this is where the rats are coming up from the creek. It goes right down to the creek. It's not much, but man, that could carry fur, that's for sure. Okay, here's some of the setups we're gonna use today. We got a 155, a double spring. It's that big wide channel. We got a short Magnum 110, a little medium Magnum 110. Then we have some Hags brackets, 110 Magnums that I got from Matt Brophy. And our Hags brackets. See the little bait clip there? See my float in the background there, look at it. So we're gonna give them all a whirl, see what happens. Okay, we're gonna put our first set. There. Right in that channel, that's where we want it. Okay, got our float. We got a Hags bracket. Got two body grips down there. Go this way. Got another body grip right there. I thought about setting the set under that dock. Might put a mink box under the dock. Okay, got a double spring 155 here. Float, covered it with real grass. Got a dryland mink set. I got another foothold set there where they're coming in and out to feed. I got two more. I have two more body grippers there. Okay, and this is a real heavy run here. I used the 155. You see I used the other spring to try and focus. I used the other spring to try and fill that gap a little bit. I have it the edge of the trap against the hard edge here. That was the narrowest point I could find on that trail. I could have set it by the rock here too, but the ground, they have it so wore out, it's right down to like stone. So there's nowhere for me to bed the stake in it. So that's the best spot I could get, but that is definitely being used. Look at that line there. All right, we set a bunch of traps out. All we gotta do now is wait. We'll be checking them and see what happens. Setting a tube here for mink. All it is a piece of drain towel. I'm setting about 1.5. Victor here. On a very light trigger. And what it is I have it wired. Wired to the drain tile. We can make a little bit of need to make a base for it here. A good bed. It's a nice thing about water trapping. If you don't have a trap bed, you can build one. And I trapped it about 1/2 inch under the water there. I also have a wire that I'm going to wire off to this branch here. Good solid tree root. Because you know damn well I can get a coon in here messing around. There's a big tree root coming out of the bank here from this that I'm after wiring that off to, so cover my trap up. It's just barely covered. I have some fish in the pipe here. I'm gonna actually put out some fish oil. what I'll do is I'll get the backside right here, I'll block off. That. I have a little 1.5 right here in the front. I have another mink box here on the side of the trail. Now I put Bob Baker's mink lure. Get our stick here that I prepared earlier. Ooh, yeah, that's a good smell right there. I'm gonna rub it on the inside of the pipe too, so the water doesn't, rain doesn't wash it away. Get a good stink on there. Now it has some, let's see, it's still sealed. Crawfish oil. Now mink trapping here is, it's a waiting game. I can have these sets out for a month. Might not get one. I have caught mink here before, but boy, it took a long time. I'm hoping with the smell of the muskrat pond that I have a, let's run that into the water. Look at it slicking off on the water there. I'm gonna put some up on the trail here by my box. That a good splash of that. And my bag here has some fish oil. Put it in a little Dawn bottle so I can squeeze it out easy. A little bit on there. Put a little bit in the pipe. Now, I secured this with a wire to the tree. The box I have staked down. Now the box I have a 120, a Magnum 120. Well, I'll show you in a second. So in the box here I have a Magnum 120 and I staked it and I wired it to the tree. Because I have potential to have a coon stick his head in that box, and you know the deal with coons. A good trick is if you're using fish oil and you're using it on mud, you spray the fish oil on the mud and let it soak down into the water. It will leave a scent trail, and then if you come back to it a couple of days later, if you wet it again, the oil will come right back out of the mud and it'll continue to come out. So I'm gonna slick this up here to make it look like something's been using it. There is a deer trail here, and I believe possibly a coon trail. I can see the oil slicking the water now. So we'll leave our fish oil in there. I'm gonna put a 110 in this little creek here too, right there in case the mink comes up it. So I have a foothold here, I have a box here, and then I'm gonna put a body gripper here. The only thing is I've used body grippers here before, and if it floods, it will clog with leaves. The leaves will, because it's flowing down this way and out. Now, I have the same problem if I put a foothold in there. It gets covered with leaves and it clogs up, but we'll give it a try, see what happens. Okay, I have a couple of sets by the creek here. Got a DP right here. I used that tether system that Robbie Gilbert sent me. I like that, that's quick. It's basically a snare cable that's looped to the trap, and then it's got a loop big enough in the trap that you can put the trap to it so you can anchor it directly to a tree. Now, catching a coon is like catching a miniature grizzly bear. So you have to anchor it to something solid. It has to be, I have it anchored to this deadfall tree, and there's no coon on the planet that's going to pull that very far. It's a couple of 100 pounds in weight, and it's buried down into the ground. So there's a trail here that runs along the edge of the creek, and my mink boxes are here on the other side. There's a bridge a little further down, but there's no solid bases on it. It's just rock, and it's impossible to get stakes into it. You'd have to use like a bottom edge set or something on it. I would also have to wade 50 yards down the creek. That gets much harder when you get ice, so I'm not setting any sets down there. I'll show you the other sets I have. Triple threat. I have a conibear there. I have a tube there that I've blocked off one end on, and I have a little 1.5 foot holder in front of it with fish in it. You can see the oil slick on the water. Look at it. Look at the oil coming out of there. Hopefully any mink coming upstream or downstream will come into that. And I have another mink box here. You can see just under the tree there, I have a T-bar in it, driven down into the ground. I have a trail coming up to it. There's a trail coming across this way, comes across that way. You can see the oil coming from this side too. Look, fish oil, crawfish oil, salmon oil. And this is a 120 Magnum in the box, and then I have the back of it baited with fish. I'm also I think I might try mouse-based predator bait. I think that would work well for mink. I was reading an article on that yesterday in Fur Fishing Game. So, springs are usually pretty hot. This is a drain coming from the pond. So this is how the rats and stuff travel up into the pond. I did look for rat sign in the creek. I didn't see any, but they're definitely moving along this creek. So we'll see if this produces or not. We're at least giving it a try. I have another mink box here setting a drainage here. You can see all the bulrushes and reeds around it. Last winter I seen mink tracks coming into this in the snow. I'm sure they're hunting this all the way out to the creek. But we'll see. I'm gonna put a mink box here, put some mink lure. I put some Appler's mink lure on it here. Let's see, so I remember which ones I used. Apple Fur Company, Mink Express, Gland Lure. Put some of that on there. Now, in this box, we're gonna try some of Joe Young's C4 mouse-based food lure. Ah, yeah, good old Sawmill Creek. So we're gonna see if that works, and we'll find out. Okay. Had a busy day on the trap line today. Mink box here. Put another mink box in up there. If you can see right there, dirt hole, about 1.5 right in front of it. I wired it off. Put quite a few sets in. This is a little creek I wanted to test for mink. It's so hard to see sign because it's all gravel. Another box here. It's a 120. I got fish bait in it. I got it pinned down. Got it wired. There's always coons, of course. I always have to contend with coons. You can see this creek runs down. Actually, it runs off the farm where I hunt. This is just closer to the road, so I can check it quickly. And this water is cold. It's spring fed. So it's hard to tell if there's mink here or not. I don't know. This drainage runs out across the street. There's a little tunnel under the road, but it's blocked up, so I can't set traps in the tunnel under the road. And then there's another creek on the other side of the road that runs right down. There's a bridge, and then the creek runs this way. So this is like a feeder stream to that creek. So I'm hoping that the mink
use it. Or maybe a muskrat. Well, I don't think muskrats would frequent it, but that's possible. It's possible. They do use those little creeks to move around, so. All right, we're gonna get this set up and then we're out.